what interrupts you is not here to enslave you. It is here to make you aware of the silence where your real voice shall present itself. You see, right now, because we're all trying to be certain somebodies in certain shapes, when a man tries to shape himself, after a while, it'll be a bit difficult to be unshaped, because every action is being dedicated into cultivating this sense of a super personality, which is going to go handle every life problem you have. But instead, you must see that the handling of life must come from your sincere engagement. What that means is you as an experiencer are aware of your moment in a way where you're not disturbed by external communication on what your moment is. You know your moment of experience. Simply because you are a moment of experience. And there's a profundity there that cannot be labeled. You must find your own tolerance, and in confronting your fears, find the edges of your comfort zone to then get rid of that kind of making some things more comfortable than other things. Everything is changing, and you as a being need to cultivate the understanding of what existential change means, because we're all going to change, we're all going to transition, and it seems that person who lives in the moment, who just is basking in the fun of just being alive, is seeing something that person masking himself with the routine and the same daily activities is not allowing himself or herself to see. And to some degree, that means be aware of the door you put in front of yourself, because I don't see people many people putting great doors. Every human being should begin with the vision that the greatest things are possible, and then impossibility is guiding you and teaching you how to build it. Failure is a part of how you use the tool to then understand how to use it better. You see, when the focus of experience becomes what you're conscious of, you immediately bring yourself here. And as you are here, there is a sense of non-dualistic being. You are here. And the grace of this simple knowing, the fact that regardless of whatever you choose to do or you have done, the fact that you are alive now, present as a moment of experience, a moment of existence, is the profundity that shall adjust your existential sensitivity to a degree that you will see that thought has gotten entangled with the self-awareness that was always transcending thought. In regards to how a human being may have a notion of a soul or a spirit, but it is your choosing of the weight you want to carry. Because there were many moments in my life where I felt in my mind it was as if an apocalyptic setting, and I felt I had to do this or I would not survive. Years later on, I was looking at it, I'm like, what was I doing, man? Why was I taking that so seriously? And it's because human beings have such a vitality to go and just live, because we're all given life. But it's just that when we go live, we see that we don't have the same program, and we are many unique flowers who are wondering why we don't look the same. But our similarity does not come in how we choose to consciously consider our separation. We are more than our considerations. We are earthquakes that are transcendental. We will shake worlds, and worlds will shake within us. You will begin to see through eyes that no man could ever see through. And what that means is, the implication is, man is still in the cradle. He needs an idea to be certain. It is very rare for a being to have a trust in life regardless of ideology. And you see, there were many beings like that. Many beings who they were realized in the sense of knowing why life was present, and it was unspeakable, for a greater sense of dimension would open up that you would see no individual constraint is needed. What that means is it may be a bit confusing to think of the observer effect when where is the observer? Who is the seer? Who is the knower of all that can be known in your experience? And tell me your breath doesn't have something to say. There is a grace here that has always guided the intuition of man, because man's intuition is, it may seem like some external guidance, but it is actually, because it is within you, you are able to be within that experience. Mr.Within regularly speaks about many concepts of how there is a multidimensionality to our experience of the moment, that it cannot be judged. So we get rid of the judgment day and we take that same hammer and we throw it into the pond and observe the last ripple, which is the last idea you are required to step into a limitless sky as you have reached the peak of your question. See, questions are in their own dimension. So you never get an answer. You see that you move beyond the reality where that problem needs to be in your awareness in that manner. There are many hidden pillars that are keeping man's intelligence present. The reason they are hidden, because once the branches of knowledge are confronted as they are, the natural intelligence of man not only has access to all branches of knowledge, it is also the roots of that which is keeping manifestation manifest. And so you build a relationship more than just looking at an object and just look, your moment of experience is beyond an objective definition. And so your subjectivity is not skyrocketing, but in a manner you are becoming aware of all possibility in a moment that never had to be here. It is your confrontation of the reflection in the mirror and your ability to see that it was your choice to look in the mirror. But the clarity is that knowing that regardless of what reflection, regardless of whatever, consciousness knows that it is here. And so there's nothing to worry about, but to very gracefully, just like how an honored member of a society passed away back in the day, and they would just put him on a boat, and towards the water. We want to do that with the concept of worry. We want to take worry and see that it is passing on. And as it passes on, man will not build a new language. He will break the language that hindered his evolution, for his evolution has begun. Consciousness has gone so deeply within existence that those deja vu moments are in actuality how the formless has always known the form. You're playing. Deja vu is a sign of a very playful consciousness. And when your consciousness plays, you must be playful with life. You must take some ideas and they will come, and some ideas will be extremely serious with you. But some ideas will be extremely playful. And you would begin to see, once you introduce the playful idea to the extremely serious one, the serious one is no longer serious. And what I mean by this is that every notion of a sense of intelligence that we observe within this external world is a consideration which is being held by abstract pillars within our subtler planes of experience, And what that really means is that when you look at an idea, there's nothing to look at, so what is keeping it? And that's when direct experience had always directly answered any question. There will be many paths that will lead to your eyes. But you must understand, you must acknowledge the flow of the part of the life you're in. So look around your life and know that you just have a feeling about it. Now be aware of this feeling and be aware of who is feeling. Be aware of who is depressed, who is stressed. For when consciousness remembers itself, it never had to think. Our fingers are kept by the palm of cosmic intelligence. We must have the grace to explore our life and in our playfulness see that man does not have to live a linear life. Man must live a life that is flowing naturally. And a new renaissance of conceptual awareness is going to begin, where human beings are going to connect all these dots of humanity by seeing that the line being drawn and that pen is being kept by the intelligence of a greater hand. Not a hand of something, not a hand of some shape. They are being kept by an existentially intelligent presence. So when you come to the present, you begin to see that you can choose to see an empty world. But what if with that same knowing, you could see a world that was alive? And so could the planet have been speaking? And had the ears of man forgotten that they were blind? Our reality is what is real to us and what is here to guide us into working with this life. So you must maintain your sense of being by observing yourself and being comfortable to look at yourself in the mirror in any moment. Whether there's a mirror in front of you or not, you have an ability to self-reflect. For I know that long time ago there were certain beings, these mystics, these yogis, would go into the wildest forests and stand there and sit there in the calmness that would guide them towards an eternal view. Within you there is a capacity beyond your understanding. Is there any reason to stand under something? Existential confrontation through direct experience is an ability to smile as you're aware that you are alive now. Your bliss is present always, omnisciently, for your knowing is beyond space and time. What that means is once you got rid of your watch and you began walking outside, you saw that the true watcher was not disturbed by the objective experience, but objectivity is flowing. What that means is every image, every idea, every sense of environment that is coming to you, first of all, is not reorienting senses of self within you, but at the same time, all this imagery are flowing like streams, like rivers. And once you become curious about this ocean of abstraction, you begin to see that the intelligence was in the drop, that this simple mere idea was just how a biological being within its self-awareness saw beyond the frameworks of what the chains that it was given. For man's survival has only continued on because of the vision of man to survive. The vision is the importance and the activation. What that means is, if you're going to a party, you better know the directions, or you'll be lost. You'll be walking for a while. But if you know the directions, you can see that you will go with a comfort. If you know yourself in a manner that is not too mystical to be real, but just you are observing your daily normal life, and in that depth of observance, finding an integrative quality where ideas are being observed by experience, and experience is untouchable, unspeakable, but present. And it's graceful because it releases all these needs and tensions and senses of, demand from your physical system to a lot of ideology. What that means is, when you want to try to heal yourself, you can try to heal the idea of you is, might be dying or whatever, or you can just become present in your moment and just become aware of your body. What that means is, before going to your doctor, just be aware of what is happening to you. Sit down for maybe 20 minutes in nature, close your eyes, and just be aware of your breathing, this physical body, and just what you are. And be interested in seeing the mechanism of how destiny was our knowing that was a step ahead when our current knowing presented itself with its in the unknown. What that means is, it confronted the whole spectrum rather than an aspect which was giving the certainty. Then there was a very profound ability that was a symmetrical balance of chaos and order, in the manner that if the eyes are open, when were they ever closed? Multidimensionality is the artwork of how consciousness finds itself through the individual as a collective whole. And so your trust will go beyond ideas, and the pilot of consciousness would have just passed the clouds and has just gone into that free zone. When you begin to see that conceptualization was never a barrier, and you never had to push this life to have it pull you. In nature, I recalibrated my sense of reality. And what that means is, before, I was a totally different person. And I remember, before I made that shift in my lifestyle choice to just go be in nature a bit more, I noticed that the environment is the suggestion of the many designs that you're considering. What that means is that a person who goes and stands by a tree and a person who stands in a room, their consciousness is orienting with what they're aware of. And it is the sense of space that actually provides the ability to see that natural design was also expressed through the unseen. Sometimes it is up to us to polish the mirror that is in front of us. What that means is you may be perhaps in a very comfortable seat in life, or you may be in a very uncomfortable seat in life. And whoever you are, you must realize that it is up to you to recalibrate. It is up to you to find the existential responsibility that will guide you through. Tremendous amounts of wisdom will come to you in your simple ability to find the sincerity and honesty. That was a moment you can trust, and from that trust your life will bloom. You will begin to see that you will trust ideas because you are trusting yourself. Your presence is that of a celestial general. All thoughts are informing you of where you must go next. You work, you flow. You are alive, but you are constantly aware of death, and so that is real as well. And you begin to do your work and see that you do not have the time to think of stress, depression. You do not have the time to be insincere. You do not have the time to be a crook or criminal. You're wasting your human experience into finding yourself through greater platforms of self-awareness, beyond the individuality that can condemn, beyond the individuality that can cage. Oh, some birds with such rage break out for a phoenix will not be hindered by the ashes of the past. Guided by the intention of natural law, I am an emissary of this moment, of this part of this universal sector, and I have come here to speak as the cosmos, for who else could I be in my most changing view? For when chaos and order visit you, emptiness was never cruel. The greatest ability of the human being is to take the human idea and find it within absolute being. We transcend ourselves by picking up and letting go of the questions and answers that we're suggesting world. Blessed be in the honor of the presence that is selfless, for the whole cosmos has become itself. Starlight will look in its own eyes. To see the glow of a new sky. I would like to communicate some mantras. for the pilot's calling. Much blessings and namaste.